Everybody, J.M. Manion here at the MPC Photo Gym in Pittsburgh, PA, and I am here with IFBB Figure Pro,
Michelle Lindsay.
And this is her Road to the Arnold.
Woo! 2020.
Is that a ooh because it's 21 degrees here?
Oh, it's ooh because I'm so excited. I can't wait. This is year 2 and I'm more excited than ever.
So, I know I asked this of everybody, but were you surprised to get the invite again? Because not a lot of people, I mean, there's people that come one year and then they're not invited back the next year for whatever reason.
I really was. I know they look for diversity from international athletes as well, and there's so many talented girls in the figure division alone in the U.S. And all over, of course.
Right.
But being a newer member of the IFBB and not having done a ton of shows yet, I definitely was surprised, but ecstatic when I got that. It's always not always, because it's only the second year, but it comes right before Christmas, and there's no better Christmas gift than knowing that you get to prep. It's really awesome.
So, you last year, give us a little idea of your where you placed last year, your contests and different things like that.
So last year was my first kind of full season back. A couple years back, I actually contracted black mold poisoning and nearly passed away, and I had to take some time off.
How does that happen?
So that occurred actually, I was living in Vegas and there was a water leak inside the walls of my home. I had no idea because the water was inside the walls.
Right.
Until the mold had already started growing. And from what we understand, it had been happening for a while, but the rental company must not have been aware of it. So the longer I stayed in the house, the sicker I got. And then the less I could leave because I was getting so sick. So it took about 8 months to figure out what was happening.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
It was a long time. And at that point, I just decided to move back to Arizona and get healthy and get out of Vegas and focus on that. And then as soon as I moved back, I just went back into, I went back into school for holistic nutrition and started treating myself with all the mold symptoms and detoxing and all that. And then I got to come back for Sacramento. That was in June of the following year. And I placed 10th. I tied for 10th at Sacramento. And then shortly after that, about 8 weeks, I actually was admitted to the hospital with what's called Guillain-Barré syndrome. And essentially it can lead to death by paralyzation. It paralyzes you to the point where you suffocate.
And that is from.
So is
that a residual from the mold?
They don't know. It's kind of a strange disease. It always follows illness or infection, but in my case, the only illness I had was the mold. So that's what they relate it to. But when I was admitted to the hospital, pretty much from high waist down, I couldn't feel. So I needed assistance walking into the hospital, and I was admitted for 3 days. They treat you with what's called IVIG, which is immunoglobulin IV therapy. Essentially, it's a bunch of blood plasma that they introduce into your system to distract your your immune system from attacking your nervous system, because that's what paralyzes you. Your immune system is trying to attack your nervous system for some reason. Wow. And so they put the blood plasma in to go in and distract that and get it to stop attacking your own body and attack the foreign antibodies. So after 3 days, I got to walk out of the hospital, but a lot of the paralyzation effects lasted for a good while. I still have days where I don't 100% feel my legs. And I can get a little bit off balance on those days. It's harder. The more tired I get, the less I can feel.
Right.
But it's improving so much. And the crazy part is I was in the hospital in August, and I got back on stage in October, and I ended up winning that show at Border State, which qualified me for my first Olympia last year.
Right.
And I'm just over the moon. After contracting such a crazy disease, I really didn't know what the rest of my life looked like, if I'd even be able to compete again.
Right.
So getting to this level, it's just a dream.
Because I was going to ask you how the Olympia was, but I didn't put it in context with that.
Yeah, but I guess to even further the situation, I did Border States, and then we applied for Arnold, and I got accepted last year. And then we did Arnold, and during that prep, I kind of realized something wasn't right with my back. And I had previous implants that I needed to have actually removed. They were affecting me tremendously. The weight was just too much for my body to handle because of my weakened structure from the mold poisoning and all that. So I had a pretty crazy reconstructive surgery after Arnold last year, and then recovered, and we got back in prep, and we did Tampa right before Olympia last year.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's impressive.
Yeah, so, the work is never done, and to me, it's like, I'm fighting for the quality of the rest of my life, and I love to do this, so there's really no reason to quit, in my opinion. Just keep going.
That's great, that's
Yeah.
great. I mean, that's a wonderful story. I mean, I never knew anything about that.
Yeah, I don't like to talk about it a lot, just because I don't want to live
Well,
in that.
a lot of people are going to
For sure.
know it now, though.
And I'm more than open to share. I just don't want to emphasize the illness. I don't want to live in that illness. It's like we can all overcome, and I don't want to be the just the person that's thought of as like the sick person, or we can all overcome, and I'm not that person anymore. So
Right.
I just kind of leave that there. I know a lot of people probably want to hear it. It's interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I can help, now that I went back to school with holistics, I can help so many people with so many different things that we're dealing with. So
Right.
it's really almost a blessing in disguise, because at this point I really have my health under control.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So where were you when you found out that you got accepted to the Arnold?
Oh my gosh, I was in Sprouts grocery store and Damien texted me. He sent me a screenshot of the list. They accidentally put it on the website early last year. I don't know if you remember. And they
Yes.
took it down right away. Well, Damien saw it before, of course, because, he's Damien. He saw it before and sent me a screenshot of it and said congrats. And it was on December 11th, imagine that. So 11 is my lucky
I was going to say, I found out that 11 is your number.
It is. So coincidentally enough, it was December 11th, which was early, because they usually don't release it till about the second week of
Right.
December. And it was a little later this year, so.
So it was meant to be.
It was. Yeah. I'm making my dreams come true, for real. It's pretty awesome.
That's great. That's great. So, are you doing anything differently with your prep or anything from, like, say, the Olympia border states and then now to the Arnold?
Every prep is definitely a little bit different. I would say going into this show has been the most different, because my calories actually increased during prep rather than going down. So
Right. That's always nice.
Yeah. I mean, I can't complain whatsoever. I like to eat, so.
Well, where are you putting it?
Good question. Maybe here, yeah. Yeah, that's a good question, though. Sometimes I wonder, where does it go?
So, now, you do train out in Arizona.
I do.
You do train with Whitney Jones and
Yes.
Amy Segovia.
Out of Pro Physiques.
Yes. And how long have you been with them?
I've been there for, in studio 2 years, but I've been with Damien and Whitney for probably at least 5. When I was in Vegas, I was with them. I went pro with Damien at USA's, and I pretty much was coachless up until Damien. But that's one of those things that I learned, that you need a coach.
Yeah.
Doing it yourself, as much as we over diet ourselves, we judge ourselves completely tough. Like, we're so
Right.
tough on ourselves. We need that guidance. Otherwise, I think that we would run ourselves into the ground.
Right.
Yeah, because the work is never done.
Yeah. Now, besides them, is there anybody else you want to give a shout out to, or thanks to, or?
Oh my gosh, there's so many people that I have to thank, and I know I'm gonna forget some names, but you guys know who you are. My sponsors, of course, Focal Point Salon in Phoenix. They take care of me always. Brian and Michelle, you guys are great. My parents, my family, you guys are the greatest support system anyone could ever ask for. And my team, we all support each other like a family. It's really awesome. It's great to share just the love and excitement for each other. To be as excited for somebody else's victory as your own, it's really rewarding.
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
it's a great team to be a part of.
Good. All right, well, this is J.M. Manion,
Michelle Lindsay.
and we will see you Thursday night at the Meet the Pros in Columbus at the Arnold Classic.
Can't wait to see you there. If you guys would like to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @michelle.lee, LEIGH.Lindsay, LINDSAY.